Some houses whisper their stories through creaking floorboards, faded paint, and half-forgotten corners. But this one sings. Her name is Amelia Grant, an interior designer known not only for her meticulous eye, but for her ability to listen, truly listen, to spaces. For Amelia, homes are not just walls and windows. They are living archives of memory and imagination, and the house she lives in today is no exception. Perched quietly on a tree-lined street, her historic family home radiates both eccentricity and grace, a space where color dances freely and character refuses to be tamed. It is not simply a place to live. It is a canvas, an heirloom, and an evolving work of art. Amelia had not set out to live here. The house had belonged to her grandmother, a woman of fierce elegance who saw beauty in imperfection. Growing up, Amelia spent summers running through its wide, echoing hallways, where dust caught the light like suspended stars and faded wallpaper peeled at the corners. Back then, the house felt impossibly large, like a cathedral of secrets. When her grandmother passed away, the home stood silent for years. Family members debated whether to sell, its upkeep daunting, its bones fragile, its value uncertain. But Amelia, then a young designer still defining her style, couldn't bear the thought of it slipping into unfamiliar hands. She remembers the day she stepped inside after years of neglect, the heavy scent of wood and time, the cracked ceiling roses, the chipped stair banister polished smooth by generations of palms. It felt abandoned, she recalls, but it also felt alive, almost as though the house was waiting for someone to speak to it again. So, she did. She bought it with little more than determination and a vision, promising herself she would honor its history while giving it the vitality of the present. Transforming the house was not a straightforward affair. It was not the kind of project where you could strip everything down and start fresh. To do so would have been an act of erasure. Instead, Amelia approached it like a conversation, with patience, respect, and a touch of daring. The first challenge was its bones. The foundation had shifted over decades. Doorways leaned slightly as though tired from standing. Rather than fight these imperfections, she chose to embrace them. Straight lines are not always the most honest ones, she laughs. She reinforced where necessary, but allowed the quirks of the architecture to remain visible, a reminder of age and endurance. Then came the dialogue between past and present. The original moldings, ornate fireplaces, and oak floors were carefully restored, their scars retained as part of the narrative. But against these historical elements, Amelia layered bold, almost rebellious choices of color and texture. Deep teal walls that seemed to shift with the light, ochre velvet armchairs that caught the afternoon sun, intricate patterned tiles sourced from local artisans, their designs echoing both heritage and modern playfulness. She refused the muted, neutral palettes so often seen in contemporary renovations. Instead, she gave the house a palette that was alive. Each room tells its own story, yet all hum together, like instruments in harmony. In the kitchen, for instance, bright green cabinetry stands proudly against weathered timber beams, a marriage of vibrancy and history. In the dining room, a chandelier from her grandmother hangs above a modern marble table, bridging generations in a single gaze upward. It was not without difficulty. There were times when old plaster walls crumbled beneath her hands, when hidden wiring demanded entire sections be dismantled, when her vision seemed impossible under the weight of practical constraints. But with each challenge came a deeper intimacy with the house. She came to know its rhythms, its stubbornness, its quiet generosity. What sets this home apart is not merely its aesthetic or the boldness of its design, but its spirit. It is a house that carries memory within its walls, layered like paint upon paint, story upon story. Amelia often says she did not so much redesign the house as coax it into conversation with the present. Walking through its rooms now, one senses a dialogue between permanence and change. A framed photograph of her grandmother rests casually on a side table, surrounded by books on contemporary design. A century-old staircase creaks as her young children run up and down, their laughter filling the same air that once held her own. The home is both a museum and a playground, sacred yet lived in. Color plays a central role in this reflection. For Amelia, color is not mere decoration. It is emotion made visible. The blues soothe, the yellows invigorate, the reds ground. She often describes her palette as emotional architecture, a way to shape not just the look of a room, but the feeling of living inside it. Each hue was chosen not by trend, but by memory. Tones that reminded her of a dress her grandmother wore, of the markets she visited while traveling, of sunsets viewed from the porch as a child. But beyond color, there is character. Character in the sloping floorboards, in the patchwork of textures, in the deliberate imperfections that resist the sterility of perfectionism. This is a home that acknowledges the passage of time rather than pretending to erase it. It insists that beauty is not found in flawlessness, but in authenticity. For Amelia, the project has become more than a personal home. It is a philosophy made manifest. To her, the house illustrates that spaces should not only protect us, but also provoke us, remind us, connect us to our lineage while inviting us forward. It is an act of storytelling, told not through words but through walls, windows, and color. And as she moves through it today, arranging flowers on a vintage table, or pausing at a window to watch the garden shift, with the seasons she reflects on what it means to inhabit a place that belongs to both the past and the future. A home like this is never finished, she says softly. It keeps evolving, just as we do. And so, this historic house of color and character does not merely shelter its inhabitants, it breathes with them, carrying yesterday's echoes into tomorrow's light.